Cool, I think it's working. Hi, Federico. Terrible, as expected. All right. This is okay, this module is the NyquistNightmare. What it does, it takes a signal, puts it through two modulators. I'm going to write this out. Alright, it takes a signal, it has two voltage controlled oscillators. It takes that signal and controls, modulates Vco pitch. There are two knobs. One of them is the attenuation knob, which is labeled attenuate right there. And there's one that is the Vco Carrier Wave. The carrier is right there. It takes that, the carrier wave can oscillate anywhere from 100 hertz, which is low, but not super low, up to like 60 or 80 megahertz. I mean, kilohertz. Way too high to hear, not megahertz high, but way too high to hear. So this is a attenuator, and then carrier wave. It takes that signal and puts it directly into an identical one of the same thing. Modulates Vco pitch with the same two knobs. That's why there's four knobs right at the top of this module. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then it takes those, puts them into a high-pass voltage-controlled filter, which doesn't have access to the voltage. It's just a filter. HP filter. That will remove some of the rumble that might be generated by interaction between these two VCOs, those two pitches. Hi, Dominic Brisetto. Yes, we met at KnobCon a few times. I've been there a bunch of times. So the high-pass filter has a cutoff, HP cutoff, and then there's LP cutoff and LP resonance. The high-pass filter does not have a resonance setting. It's just a plain filter. This is harder than... And then it goes to a low-pass filter, which has resonance. And, resonance, Q. And this is cut off for the high-pass filter. Then it goes into a automatic gain control circuit, because these four knobs right here and the two filters, especially with the resonance, can get very loud. The interaction between these four knobs can create waveforms, electrical signals over 18 hertz. Volts peak to peak, up to 20 volts peak to peak, maybe more. The op amps will not let them get much more than 20 volts, because this is only 24 volt system. It has plus and minus 12 volts, just like any Euro rack modular. So then it has an auto gain control, AGC, and that's just a black box that transforms the signals from anywhere from 2 or 3 volts peak to peak up to 20 volts peak to peak or plus, and evens them out to be about 10 volts peak to peak. The AGC, there's also a dry and wet knob. My prototypes of this exact circuit were very difficult to use, because you just had to kind of listen and guess, and sometimes when you're messing with all four of these knobs and these filter knobs, you're not sure if what you're hearing is the effect of these, or if you're actually hearing something related to the signal that's coming into the circuit. The dry wet knob allows you to take out the effect, bring the effect in. The CV attenuate knob is the voltage control for the low pass filter. Woo! I just shot right off the page. There's an input for that. CV with a knob. And then there's the output volume. And the output volume only affects the effect. It doesn't affect the dry signal. Making it affect the dry signal probably would have required a 2-gang pop, more complicated than I was ready to do. So I'm going to start soldering. This design has very small rat bites right there, mouse bites. So they all, at the factory, snapped in half. Which means some technician had to come in with Kapton tape and tape them all together. I'm so sorry, technician. That sucks. Destroy all signals. This is the faceplate. It's got a little bit of mouse bite stuff. I have a file and a trash can. Yeah, Nyquist is, I'm not sure. I'm using the Nyquist Frequency. That's the idea that if you've got a digital sampling system or non-digital sampling system, if you have a stepped voltage and you want to remove that updates at a certain number of hertz frequency times per second, the filter, the Nyquist frequency, is the frequency at which a certain frequency can come through without having audible artifacts. I think it's 1.5 times the let's see, if you want like 1,000 hertz to go through, I think you want the Nyquist frequency to be 1,500, something like that. There's a more complicated math calculation. I don't really understand. I mean, I do understand, but I don't know what the calculation is. I also need, I have all the parts right here, but I need a 10 microfarad electrolytic capacitor. Here's my bag of parts. I should probably organize these. Tall trimmer style potentiometers. Microfarad. $10 microfarad, yay! This is going to be a quick build. So if you're here waiting to see if this explodes, you will not have to wait long. See if I got the polarity of that correct. I sure did. Here's my worst soldering iron in the world. It's the only one I ever use. be a 1 microfarad capacitor. Where do you suppose those Well, I know I have some right here. One microfarad. That is a strangely placed capacitor. I'm not sure why I chose to put it so close to that chip. I was very frustrated with this circuit board because the first one I ordered, well, 5. I ordered an order of 5 after I finished the PCB layout. And it worked. But the PCBs were about 10 millimeters too tall. So I sent 4 of them away. I sent 4 of the PCBs off for people to build. And I figured out after I sent them that they were too tall. So if people were going to build their PCBs for me, they didn't have faceplates, so they weren't ready to go as modules. But if people were going to build them, they were going to have to not put them in a Eurorack case, or they were going to have to figure something out. So I apologize, all you people who got a NyquistNightmare. They were not ready for prime time. I don't know if this one's ready for prime time. It might explode. Communication systems, this module is super. I'll be sure to check it out. I always play with RF with my test equipment. I'm afraid this can't get all the way into RF. My original idea with a circuit like this was to go have it be a literal radio frequency receiver, transmitter and receiver. My thermal relief not very good on this board. These ground ones are hard to get there. Solder to go. My original plan, my original idea, was to have it be radio frequency modulation, maybe preferably amplitude modulation, AM. But then I ran into the issue of possibly actually transmitting radio into the rest of my system, or into the environment, which would be a violation of, I mean, it would be very low power, so I'm sure it wouldn't be a violation of Federal Communications. FCC, what does that stand for? Federal Communications Corporation? I hope not. That's fine. Now the potentiometers. This is a 100K. The potentiometer values are right there on the PCB. When you buy your potentiometers just in bags from China, a lot of times they come all dented up. 100K, 100K, this is 1 meg. The attenuation potentiometers for this are 1 meg ohm potentiometers. That's a pretty big value for just a simple attenuator. So I'll tell you why I chose that value. It is actually the attenuator potentiometer is running parallel to a normal resistor, which I believe is 100K. And the 100K resistor is between the wiper and ground, I think. Maybe it's between the wiper and the signal input. I can't remember for sure. But that way, the response of the potentiometer is super nonlinear. It's very logarithmic. Because the first used to be, for the attenuation, sorry about the shaky camera, for the attenuation, the low to mid, right there, was the most effective, that was really the most effective range. And so with it being pretty severely logarithmic with a 100 kilo ohm resistor in parallel with a 1 meg potentiometer, it kind of spreads out the sweet spot. Another 100K resistor, potentiometer. On 1 meg. I think it's going to be a 10K. Oh, 10K, right there. Effect volume. 104, that means 100K. You know what's going to happen, of course. I'm going to place all these potentiometers, turn it upside down, and they're all going to fall out. This is 100K, yep. And this will be a 10K. Yay, it is. Perfect. Now it's time to do a bunch of pretty boring soldering. One of my potentiometers popped out. I built an RE909, which is a part-for-part clone. It's as exact to the original TR909 transistor rhythm. That's a Roland drum machine. And I built an RE909, and the 909 has ground connections that go through some of the potentiometers. So without a potentiometer placed in the circuit, without the ground, without the sort of mechanical connections, like, this part and this part, without the mechanical connections of the potentiometer connected, it won't work, because the ground path actually goes through the potentiometers. That's not a decision I've ever had to make. I've never had a problem with routing that's that difficult. But might happen someday, in which case I'll have to ensure that all my mechanical connections are really, really good. I'm frustrated with my soldering because I'm not getting enough heat to the tip. Look at that terrible tip. So I'm just going to move it in. Make it nice and short. That way, I will get lots of heat to the tip. That's better already. Two more mechanical connections. Checking to see that they all look sturdy and straight. Yep, they look fine. Put that little guy in that leaped out. I suppose I could do this. Bend the mechanical bits a little bit. So it more snaps in place. See if I can get a nice piece of snap. No, it just went slide. Today, we watched a movie. The movie was called It's a movie from India, from Bollywood. And it was long. 3.5 hours, I think. So it was really long, but it was incredibly enjoyable. Sort of action adventure, romance, comedy. I mean, we in the United States, we think movies should fit a genre and stay in their lane. But I know movies from Hong Kong and the rest of China and Bollywood do not see the need to remain completely in one genre. And the dancing numbers, I'm not a huge, I don't know a ton about Bollywood, but I do know, I am familiar with the dancing. Just all of a sudden in the middle of the movie, there will be a dance number. Of course there is. In musical, like characters will sing songs and you're not sure if this is happening for real or if, oh, I missed that. Maybe I have more action right there. If it's happening in the movie or if it's the fancy film nerd term is diegetic. If it's something that we're not supposed to believe is happening in universe. So I would have to talk to somebody who knows more about Bollywood than me to know if when characters all of a sudden start singing together, if we're expected to believe that they actually kind of rehearsed this and part of the deal. Like if it's a wedding and everyone starts dancing and singing, fine. It's the kind of stuff that can almost be believed. But if it's a action scene, and all of a sudden multiple characters are singing, you're like, what? Anyway, totally recommend that movie. It's very violent. There's a lot of very difficult to take racism against Indian people. Oh boy. And the British come out looking pretty bad. Yeah, it's amazing. Alright, time for the funky cons. 3.5 millimeter mono jacks. Those might step out more easily. I should have done those first. Holding it in place. By the way, is on Netflix. Oh, I have somebody else in the chat. Hi, Skull Drazier. Hello. And Thomas Thors. Hello, Thomas Thors. Yeah, my bandwidth is horrible. I'll close the YouTube window because I'm probably not going to chat anything. That'll save bandwidth. Alright. No, I have okay, I have a good phone and a good plan, but where I'm streaming from is in this weird shadow of cell towers. And it's only 4G. Maybe if it was a 5G phone, I would be in better shape. But I'm not sure. Okay, you know what? I'm almost done. We are going to hear whether this pedal works in a few minutes. Pedal. I said pedal. I meant module. Alright. I do believe all the soldering is finished. It's not beautiful. My solder is has no clean flux, which means you don't have to clean it up, even though a lot of people recommend that you do. And if you do try to clean it up, it's quite a challenge to find a product that will clean it. Now, what I should have been doing this whole time, or even done before I started streaming, maybe I should have snapped off a little locator or localizer pins on each of these potentiometers, because the panel won't fit. Well, it won't fit with nuts on the potentiometers, that's for sure. But even without nuts, the little localizer pins are in the way. Fortunately, they're nice and easy to snap off. Maybe I should guess I'm sort of just procrastinating because what if this doesn't work? And I will be disappointed. And if I can put off the disappointment for just a couple minutes as I snap the tabs off of these potentiometers, what a great strategy. Oh, no. I will continue to procrastinate by putting on the faceplate.
Focus with 1 AM check.
My radio.
Donovan. Up and Anthony.
Castro.
Vanderark. I will not put on all the nuts. I'll just do 2. My little 3D printed nut tightener.
Making an everyone but the boss.
So convenient. I hear you. Yeah. I used to have all my capacitors and stuff mixed together, but whew, that is it's rough. Alright. Here is my little this is a Atari Punk Console 1.5, so primary frequency, primary timer, secondary timer, 2 secondary timers. This used to be a pulse generator based on a CD 40106 Schmidt trigger, but then I touched it to something and it blew up, so then I have little plus, ground, minus grabbers for working on my point-to-point stuff. And I have a little
Is there anyone that can check on the boss? I called, but they didn't answer, and I'm here by myself.
I can't. I'm way on the other side of campus. So let's put in there. Here is my signal source. This is a little, what are they called? Mini DFP player? DF player mini. So turn that on and play. The LED came on, I don't think you can tell. So now it's playing. This is where the signal goes into my little speakers, which are up here. So I'll connect that to the out. Maybe I'll put a little resistor lead on the out to give the grabber something to grab. Alright. The out is now connected. Rack power is now connected. I put it on the in. Now it's on the out. Right now it's set to dry. And I'm going to turn it on. Ready? It's working. This is a podcast.
This podcast, Caldwell's an industry leader in must-have range gear, from beginner to the expert skill level.
filter. Oh, I hear something. This is the dry signal, and that's the wet signal. I'm glad it works. I have 20 of these.
Or petitions or Congress.
So I'm glad it works. I didn't waste all my money.
Like that. This is the kind of stuff that we each can do ourselves without permission, without any plans.
It's like Disney. I don't get the joke, Skuldredger. Some teacup or mouse starts the musical note. Is Disney? Yeah. No, because Disney movies are. I mean, Disney, I'm not sure which. Yeah, sure, if Snow White starts singing, that's happening in universe. But in the Disney movie Enchanted with Amy Adams and Patrick, what's his last name? Don't remember. She starts singing a song because she's a Disney princess from an animated universe, and she's like, "How does she know that you love her?" That's nonsense. It's great. And he's like, "What are you doing? How does everybody know this song?" It's great. Okay, so without an input, this thing can still make some loud noises. Like motor noises. Cheng Pu. How did Thonk get their name? Thonk is the name of the guy who started Thonk. I don't know his last name. I mean first name. Andrew, probably. Where's my...
Buy products fixing it now.
Okay, that's still working. Did something break? No. Okay. I'm going to connect this thing straight into the computer. I used to have a normal question. Oh, all right.
Wildlife and plant life and how we conserve these resources, how we keep these places here and healthy for us to enjoy and for the critters and everything else that calls them home. And so this month I'm having a bunch of different conversations with people about that. Some policy things, and then I also want to have a conversation which I'm right here today, which is you guys probably see the same thing that I do. I bring up this quote all the time, and I know $356 million acres of land across this country are either owned
that are most importantly a person who's hopefully has the interest of trying to improve that land for the wildlife. Other people, as well as just chainsaw or wood torching and do it ourselves. And so we're absolutely all in on talking about it.
Try to take a little different look at work, because so often, whether it's in this podcast or in magazines or TV shows or anywhere, when people talk about we all want to talk about it. There are other mentioned. There's a lot of ways.
Okay, so there you have it. That is the noise of this module. I will play it with some music now.
What's your guess? Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows.
Harry Potter. Okay, let's do